Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Josie's Point of View, where we focus on human interest stories from the Carolinas and beyond. Today's Monday and it's January the 23rd, 2022. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to my channel, I'd like to extend to you a warm welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you find the information here to be informative. And if you're a returning viewer, by all means, thank you so much for coming back. You know, I always say the tide changes so frequently here on these YouTube streets, so you always have to acknowledge where your support comes from. And I want you to know, I sincerely thank you for your support. Feel free to like and to share this video, and don't forget to subscribe. And our story today takes us back to Fort Bragg here in North Carolina. Take a look at that headline. And it reads, Fort Bragg soldier charged with attempted murder. I'll provide you with a summary here, and as always, I'll place links to a few of the full articles in the description box. Well, I'm back with another video about the military because Fort Bragg is trending, and all for the wrong reason. There has been so much going on these past few days, and it's just been shocking. And I have to say, we all have been in a state of shock, just trying to understand just what the heck is going on. And to be honest, it's just been one hot mess, and I'm about to break it down for you right here in this video. But I want to encourage you to stick with me until the end because I plan to raise a few questions of my own. And just in case you missed my last video, I shared this news headline: Pair of shootings rocks Special Forces community at Fort Bragg. Now, two shootings that has left us all shocked and anxious at the same time. We first learned that a soldier, 24-year-old Staff Sergeant Jimmy Lee Smith III, was shot and killed in Raeford, North Carolina, which is very close to Fort Bragg. The circumstances surrounding his death were not disclosed, but it was reported that a suspect had been identified. This was the first shooting that came to light. Then we learned there had been another shooting that took place that same day, all of which had the earmark of a Hollywood movie. The end result was a high-speed chase through several counties in North Carolina and finally with an arrest in Virginia. Both the accused and the shooter, we are told, are soldiers at Fort Bragg. The shooter in this case is facing a number of charges to include attempted murder. Then there was another news report that says both shootings and all the people involved knew each other. And like I said, it's been one hot mess. So let's pick up from where we left off in the last video, where the focus was on the death of Staff Sergeant Jimmy Lee Smith III. Reports say police were called to a restaurant in Spring Lake at approximately 8:51 p.m. on Wednesday evening in response to a report that a woman had been shot. Now, as a reminder, this is close to the time of the first shooting, which resulted in the death of Staff Sergeant Smith, but we'll get back to that later. But anyway, according to the news release, when police arrived on the scene, an injured woman stated she and her child were in a vehicle trying to leave a nearby residence when a subject known to her fired into her car. It appears she was able to travel to a nearby restaurant about 9 minutes away, took cover in the bathroom with her child, and that's when the police were called. And when police arrived, they found the woman and the child with gunshot wounds. The child injuries were determined to be superficial, which means they weren't that serious, but the woman had more serious injuries. She had been shot in the shoulder. The victims were both transported to the nearby hospital for emergency care, and it was stated the woman was listed in stable condition. Now, the injured woman, the victim, was identified as 29-year-old Chelsea Ling Chan, a soldier assigned to Fort Bragg. Now, her picture is all over the place, but that does not mean I have to show all of it. I tried to cover it up just a bit, but like I said, she's a soldier assigned to Fort Bragg, but her unit assignment was not disclosed, and she remains in stable condition. And I'm sure because she's a victim and because of privacy reasons, we most likely will not hear anything else about her condition. And we know her child was injured, but a status was not provided for him or her. We don't know the gender either. Now, the shooter was identified as another soldier, 25-year-old Staff Sergeant Brandon Amos Dixon, also assigned to Fort Bragg. Now, he was identified by the victim as being her fiance, so they were in some type of they were in a relationship. And again, this happened on Wednesday night, and police had this information the same day, and as expected, there was a warrant out for Staff Sergeant Amos Dixon's arrest. He was now a wanted man, wanted on 2 counts of attempted murder. Now, I'm sure the police had been looking for Staff Sergeant Amos Dixon and his vehicle all night because he was classified as a fugitive. But the next morning, early the next morning, which was now Thursday, Virginia State Police officers learned that his pickup truck was parked at a northbound rest area. And as troopers and a Bland County deputy approached the truck, it sped out of the parking lot and headed north on Interstate 77, and things were about to get crazy. Police say Amos Dixon intentionally rammed a trooper's vehicle during the pursuit, but the trooper was not hurt. Thank God for that. But this was followed by a high-speed chase on the interstate. He probably didn't know where he was heading, just driving as fast as he could as he tried to evade police. And this went on for many, many miles on the interstate. Wish I could see the video, and I'm sure it was adrenaline pumping because the police were not about to let him escape. They were on his tail. And police say after taking exit 64 in Rock Gap, that's probably in Virginia because I'm not familiar with that location, but after taking exit 64, they say the truck kept on going and going until it eventually crashed, but it didn't end there. Police say Amos Dixon then got out of the truck and fled on foot. He was running. So a search perimeter was immediately established, and local residents were advised to shelter in place and to call 911 if they saw anyone suspicious. The local high school was also placed on lockdown, and police say multiple resources were employed in the area while searching for this fugitive. And here's a copy of the message that was sent out to community residents. It says, special attention Clear Forks Creek Road residents. The Bland County Sheriff Office and Virginia State Police are currently searching for a suspect that is on foot following a pursuit resulting in a vehicle accident. The suspect is considered armed and dangerous. The suspect is a black male, approximately 5'11", 175 pounds. Residents are asked not to approach if seen and to call 911 immediately. Bland County schools are on lockdown at this time. And after a few hours of searching the area, Specialist Amos Dixon was eventually caught, and where they found him was approximately 200 miles from the Fort Bragg area. He was taken into police custody, where he was formally charged. Now, Amos Dixon has been charged with 2 counts of attempted murder, 10 counts of shooting into an occupied vehicle, and 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon. Now, these charges here are related to what took place in Spring Lake, where his fiancée and her child were shot. And there are additional charges from Virginia, and those include reckless driving to endanger life or limb, and assault on a law enforcement officer. Last we heard, he was in the River Valley Jail where he has no bond, and I'm sure he'll be extradited back to the Fayetteville area in order to face these great charges of attempted murder and so forth, but so far a court date has not been identified. Now let's go back just a little and look into the background, the military background of this soldier. According to information released from Fort Bragg, Staff Sergeant Amos Dixon is a native of Southfield, Michigan, and he has been in the Army since 2015. And here's a piece of information that's really interesting. His assignment at Fort Bragg is as a culinary specialist or a cook. And here are some important questions. We already know Amos Dixon is a culinary specialist or cook. Guess who was another culinary specialist and a cook? Special Staff Sergeant Jimmy Lee Smith III, who was killed that same day. So they're both Fort Bragg soldiers working in the same job as a cook. And then you have the other Fort Bragg soldier, Chelsea Chang, who was shot and injured along with her child, and for which Amos Dixon is the known suspect. So exactly what is the connection here? We know Amos Dixon is charged with attempted murder in the Chelsea Chang's and her child's case. But here's the question. Is Amos Dixon also a suspect in the death of Staff Sergeant Jimmy Lee Smith III? Now, that's the important question. In fact, it's the question of the hour, but all those involved are keeping tight-lipped, and I understand until they have made a decision, they want to make sure they're keeping all their facts as close as possible. But we, the public, we want to know. And so, folks, you've had a series of events that entirely shocked all of us here in this community. First, we have the death of a soldier, when you have another soldier and her child critically, seriously injured, and then you have another soldier charged with attempted murder, and the female soldier and her child, but we don't know whether or not he was also responsible for the death of the male soldier. The thing that's important, all of these killings, both of these shootings occurred around the same time. But that's all we have right now, and as soon as more information is released, I'll be back with another video. And that's all I have for you right now. Feel free to leave me a comment below and let me know what you think about this video. And by all means, feel free to like it and to share it. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel by clicking on that right subscribe button. It's on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And if you click on the bell that looks just like this one, that's a notification bell. If you click on that notification bell, you'll be the first to know whenever a new video is uploaded. I thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.